new splash, anything new excitement from the set, it's likely people are going to just not think about it or put it on the back burner, even if the deck's actually still quite good.
Yeah. And we have, as you guys can see in front of us, our first feature match of the day. So round 1 is underway, and on the left, that might be a familiar face for you guys. Mr. Brad Nelson, former Player of the Year, Star City Games writer, Star City Games everything, in the house, playing Human Reanimator this weekend, as we did say. He does have the combo of Cartel Aristocrat, Fiend Hunter, Angel of Glorious Rise. He has a Cathedral Sanctifier in his deck. Brad is known for casting Unburial Rites, and he's going to be doing it again this weekend.
And on your right, you see Shane Giachetti. He's playing Rug mid-range with Signal the Clans, which is, I believe, a new Gruul rare.
It is.
He has a variety of bullets that I guess he can sort of get with it. Pyreheart, Wolf, Gyre Sage, Borderland Ranger, Thundermaw Hellkite, all one of. He has Arbor Elf, Gore Clan Rampager, Master Biomancer, Huntmaster of the Fells, and Prime Speaker Zagana.
Yep. The Simic Lord.
Yes. So just like a 3-color good stuff creature deck.
This is called Let the Brewing Begin.
Yep. Farseek, Simic Spear, Simic Charm rather, Searing Spear, and Signal of Clans.
So yeah, this looks to me just like a red, blue, green good card deck. But I mean, we've seen these in the past be very successful. Brad's deck does have more synergies, of course, because of the Angel of Glorious Rise, Cartel Aristocrat, Fiend Hunter combo. But you know, mostly for the most part, he's just your standard 4-color Reanimator deck. He does have Farseek, as you guys do see him resolving that now to search out the newly legal Sacred Foundry. So of course the mana base in this deck has gotten much better.
Yeah, and if Farseek wasn't a big player in the standard metagame before, which it was, it's going to be even larger now because it facilitates all sorts of mana fixing.
And we do see both players lead off their initial turns with a Farseek. So, you know, they've jumped the curve a little bit. They're going to have 4 mana on turn 3. And we're going to see exactly where Shane's going to come out of the gates here. Again, you're going to see a Stomping Ground. He's going to move himself down to 18. And he has a lot of 4-drops in his deck. Gore Clan Rampager, Huntmaster of the Fells, Master Biomancer. He's got a lot of options. And we are going to see our first new card of the day as Brad reads it. We're going to put it on the screen for you guys. Master Biomancer. And this one lets the counters begin to be moved around, as you're going to see Brad cast a Faithless Looting. Huntmaster of the Fells and Cartel Aristocrat for you guys are what Brad drew. And you guys will see Master Biomancer on the screen. It's a little crazy.
Yep. Each creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters equal to Master Biomancer's power and is immune in addition to its other types. So at the minimum, everything comes into play +2/+2.
Yes. And when you have Huntmaster of the Fells in your deck, that's pretty good.
It's combo.
It can't hurt.
Thragtusk, that's a combo, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, doesn't hurt that Thragtusk is just good card being good.
Yeah.
As you do see Brad discard a Huntmaster of the Fells and a Cartel Aristocrat. He's going to play Cavern, and he's going to Fiend Hunter that. So, Fiend Hunter on human there, and going to take care of the Master Biomancer before things get out of control, which is probably for the best.
Yeah, that card implies that more things are coming. So you don't want to mess around there.
You know, we have access to Shane's deck list, so you guys kind of have an idea. It's just kind of a value card in his deck, but again, Brad doesn't know that. And as a result, you know, if I have a Fiend Hunter in my hand and I see someone cast that, I think I want to get rid of that. And we're going to see Shane cast Signal the Clans, and as Brad reads that, he gets super excited about the things that can happen. You guys are going to see that on the screen. Shane's going to search his library for 3 creature cards and reveal them. You're going to see a Huntmaster of the Fells among the other 2, and he gets to search for 3 with a different name. So this is a kind of an interesting card.
Yeah, no, it's not reliable, but if you have a bunch of just good stuff creatures, this card can be just a fine value play. So I think that if we're going to see this card get incorporated, it's going to be in decks like Shane's.
Yep. And you're going to see Shane search for Borderland Ranger, Master Biomancer, and Huntmaster of the Fells. Master Biomancer is going to go to his hand. The other 2 are going to get shuffled back in.
It's a brewer's paradise, week 1, let me tell you.
The old dream.
Anything's possible.
So Biomancer is going to move over to Shane's hand. We'll see if he has anything to follow this up with here. But Brad's sitting pretty with a Fiend Hunter in play. Stomping Ground comes in for Shane. And of course, Brad does have that Faithless Looting in his graveyard to flash back if he sees that to be necessary. Blood Crypt, the draw for Brad this turn. He is going to come across for 1, maybe? He's reaching.
Well, no reason to not attack, I guess.
Brad's thinking, maybe I want to cast a spell in my first main phase. All right, I'm going to resolve Faithless Looting. That's what Brad says. He draws another Faithless Looting, and he draws a Sun Petal Grove. And you can see his hand. There's a Blood Crypt there. There's at least one copy of Angel's Glorious Rise. And he does have another Fiend Hunter here, which he looked like he is considering discarding. And, you know, basically what he's doing right now, Patrick, is he's just kind of building towards the combo in his graveyard.
Yeah, well, he can kind of take two roads here. He can either just try to build up just value and good power in his hand, or he can try to set up a big reanimation.
You're going to see that copy of Faithless Looting that he did draw for the turn. He's going to cast that. Grizzly Salvage and Cavern of Souls are the cards drawn for this Faithless Looting. So again, setting things up. You know, he can increase his board position a little bit, but he can also start to fill his graveyard and start to set up that combo kill with Angel of Glory's Rise, the Cartel Aristocrat, the Fiend Hunter, and whatever else he sees fit down there. So, and you do see him discard his one Cathedral Sanctifier. So infinite life starting to become online here.
Yes.
And no attacks at all. A little interesting. I guess, you know, the thought behind that is, you know, I don't really have a reason. I'm going to try to, you know, combo kill you. You know? And so we are going to see a Simic Charm here from Shane on the end step. Simic Charm does have 3 modes. We're going to bring that up on the screen for you. The one that Shane did use is the Unsummon mode.
Yeah, it's Unsummon, Giant Growth, and Hexproof, I believe.
Hexproof, everyone's favorite mechanic. Keyword, excuse me. Not a mechanic just yet. But the Master Biomancer is back, and so now we'll see. All right, we're going to see Old Faithful.
So there's Thragtusk coming in as a 7/5, thanks to the Master Biomancer.
Everyone's favorite card. And the Biomancer is going to come across for 2. So Brad's going to go down to 18 now. Take a draw step. Woodland Cemetery it is for Brad.
So we're going to salvage here, I assume, to start this turn off.
It is going to get Grizzly.
And salvage is the real thing that juices this deck. You get to see so many cards.
Yeah.
And everything you flip over, like every creature and every unburial rights you flip over is huge.
Yeah.
So Faithless Looting is nice for selection. It's nice for doing a little bit of the graveyard value stuff, but Grizzly Salvage is what really makes this deck hum.
And between that and Mulches as well, you know, you're able to just really stock the graveyard chock full of things that you can do, and then just really just get your engine online.
Yeah.
And you see that here in this game for Brad. You know, Brad is behind on the board right now, but it's very clear that that's not what he's trying to accomplish here.
Right.
You know,
and Shane's deck's a little bit on the slower side too, so Brad's got a lot of time to set up what he's trying to do here.
And now you are going to see Fiend Hunter again take care of the Master Biomancer. Fiend Hunter, a pretty nice addition for this deck. Not only does it stop the, you know, not only does it, you know, set up the infinite combo, but it also buys yourself some time.
Yeah,
and make sure that you just don't die so that you can actually get things online.
Yeah, Faceless Butcher saw more than its fair share of play in Constructed, and this is a mana less, you know? It's great for these decks. We see Fiend Hunter in non-human reanimator sideboards even.
Yeah.
So, no surprise to see it here.
So we see Shane coming across with that 7/5 Thragtusk now. Brad considering a block. Again, you know, he's just using his life total as a resource right now. Do I need to block? Do I care about taking 7? What's the worst thing that can happen? And now we're going to see the Blood Rush ability of the Gore Clan Rampager give the Thragtusk +4/+4.
Yep.
And Trample.
So it looks like Brad went to chump block there,
yep. And you know, this is something that I also think that we're going to become familiar with here, as you do see Gore Clan Rampager on the screen for you guys. The Blood Rush ability, getting through some damage with that Thragtusk. The Master Biomancer comes back, and now you're going to see another one.
Yep. We knew about the second one earlier from the signal, and then the Fiend Hunter on the other one.
Brad untaps, he draws very quickly. You're going to see an Angel of Glory's Rise here, and now the fireworks are going to begin, because the humans are going to come back, and Brad is going to stack things in such a way with these Fiend Hunters and this Cartel Aristocrat. You're going to see Huntmaster come back. He's going to be able to stack things in such a way that he's going to be able to gain infinite life here and be able to remove a ton of creatures. And you can see the pointing around here, Patrick, of, you know, I'm putting my Fiend Hunters on the stack, I'm putting the life gain on the stack, I'm doing all of these things. I have a sacrifice outlet with Cartel Aristocrat, and things are not good for you, Mr. Shane.
Yeah, this is probably gonna take some explanation from Brad to his opponent, but
Yeah. But
it's not good.
Yeah,
it's
what you guys are going to end up seeing at home here is you're going to see a lot of things end up dying. Fiend Hunter's going to be removing some things. You're going to see some life being gained to Aristocrat. Huntmaster's going to die, and what's going to end up happening here is you're just going to create this huge loop. This comes back, the Angel of Glory's Rise. The humans come back, and Brad is going to do what we call, I'm going to demonstrate the loop. And Shane says, this loop's no fun. I don't want to play anymore, and he's going to pack it in. So Brad Nelson up a game here.
Yeah, that was, this matchup, at least game 1, feels pretty close to ideal for Brad.
Yeah.
His life total is not under any duress. His opponent's not really presenting any permission. There's not a lot that he has to play around, and it's very hard for Shane to kill him in time.
Yep.
So, pretty much perfect, and that game was a good demonstration.
And you can take a look at Shane right now as he's sideboarding, thinking, okay, well, if that's what you're up to, I'm not quite sure what I can do to stop that. That seems kind of hard to beat. You have Shane's deck list in front of you. Is there anything that he can do to stop that, as we don't expect a lot of graveyard hate this weekend?
So he has 3 copies of Negate in his sideboard, which are okay, but we saw that game Brad was actually able to can play a pretty conventional game with some of his creatures too. So it's not like Negate just stops the deck, because you can just cast your creatures. He has 2 copies of Fervor, which I actually think could be pretty good here.
Just speed it up.
Yeah, I mean he's got to get the ball moving, right? So if they're going to be good somewhere, I would assume this is mostly for control decks.
Sure.
But I actually think it could be good here as well. He has Pillars and Flames of the Fireblade and Plummets that he doesn't really want here. 2 Mizium Mortars, which I think are poor, and 2 Glaring Spotlights, which again, not so much. Yeah.
Taking a look at Brad's sideboard here, he does have 3 more copies of the Cathedral Sanctifier. Again, for your mono red matchup, that's a good place to be, and also can help facilitate the infinite combo a little bit easier because he only does have 1 copy in his main deck.
Yeah.
You're going to find 3 copies of Slaughter Games, which are not really for this matchup. 4 copies of Appetite for Brains. You can see him maybe sideboard 1 or 2 in, because he did see a lot of 4-drops that game between Huntmaster of Fells, Thragtusk, and the Master Bombmancer, and also Gorklan Rampager.
Yeah.
So maybe you see a couple copies of those. Again, Brad has to decide if he cares about those cards. 3 copies of Rave Revelation, and then 2 copies of Purify the Grave. So I don't expect Brad to sideboard a lot of things here. He doesn't want to dilute his deck too much. And as if game 1 is any indication, just for what Shane's deck is trying to accomplish, Brad is in a pretty favorable matchup.
Yeah, and since Brad didn't see white mana out of Shane's deck, he can be pretty safe feeling like the graveyard stuff is a safe place to lean on.
Yep.
Often the Reanimator sideboards I've seen have a lot of what they're trying to do is find ways to de-emphasize their graveyard and just have good value cards in the post-board games where their graveyard can be under attack by things like Purify the Grave or Rest in Peace. When your opponent doesn't have white mana, now of course they could have Tormod's Crypt, but that's a much more fringe sideboard card.
Sure.
But without white mana, you're generally pretty safe feeling like your graveyard's going to be fine, and you don't have to cut too much of that stuff to hedge against cards like Rest in Peace.
So as we are going to see both players shuffle up here, figure out what's going on. Just as far as how they want to sideboard, you're going to have Shane on the play this game. Both players will be presenting shortly. I think that, honestly, Brad's deck is a deck that I think we're going to see a healthy amount moving forward. This reanimation strategy, again, with Cartel Aristocrat being a human, it really does just change everything. Because, again, you don't have to splash for Falkenrath Aristocrat. And finding a sacrifice outlet was pretty tough previously. And being able... The mana is much, much better now. With all the dual lands that are available from Return to Ravnica and Gatecrash, something that Pro Tour Barcelona, that block didn't have. That mana in that block was notoriously bad. But the big deal here is Cartel Aristocrat being a human. It really changes everything.
Yeah. The question to me about this deck is if it can stand up to the aggressive strategies.
Yep.
Because the Mono Red and Boros, or whatever the best beatdown deck that comes out of this format, is probably going to be a turn 4.5 deck.
Yep.
Basically. And I'm not sure if this is fast enough to win those kind of games when it's on the draw. To me, that's the big question mark. Can you beat the other control decks? I think the answer is absolutely yes.
Sure. I think control, a control matchup is exactly where you want to be, or your mid-range matchup. So you are going to see an Arbor Elf here from Shane to start the game off. Brad going to come in with an untapped Stomping Ground. He's going to resolve a Faithless Looting. Stomping Ground and Mulch drawn for Brad. Yeah, that's the big question. Can these Reanimator strategies, 1, stand up to the hate, and two, stand up to just the aggressive strategies that are going to be, you know, coming into play moving forward between your Boros, your Gruul, your Mono Red, and you know, a deck of, you know, weak Spats and zombies.
Yeah, I think it's much easier for this deck to beat the Graveyard Hate with the proper sideboard than it is to just be successful if it has to play 40% of its rounds against attacking decks.
So we're going to see a Sulfur Falls here from Shane. Let's see if he has anything juicy for his turn 2. And jump past the curve, or is Arbor Elf just going to give the beatdowns?
That looks like a beatdown.
He's going to slide a Gore Plan Rampager forward here. So it's a beatdown for 5.
Okay. Trying to capitalize a little bit on Brad playing that Stomping Ground on tap.
Yep.
Try to get his life total under duress.
You know, what that basically implies is, you know, he has other 4-drops in his hand that he doesn't want to cast. That will start the 4-drop parade on turn 3. Brad is just going to pass back here. We know he has a Mulch in his hand, which means we're probably going to see a Grizzly Salvage from him on Shane's end step. But let's see what Shane can do in the meantime.
And I actually like that play last turn from Shane, even though it looks a little weird, because his mana might be tied up for a bunch of turns, and this matchup is going to be just a pure race from his end. He doesn't have a lot in the way of disruption.
Yeah. We're going to see Master Biomancer.
Yeah.
So he's going to try to get this online again. You're going to see Grizzly Salvage from Brad here on Shane's end step, revealing a Cavernous Souls, a Huntmaster of the Fells, another Grizzly Salvage, a Fiend Hunter, and a second Fiend Hunter.
Those Fiend Hunters, they're good here, but not close to castable yet.
Yeah, they're good, not great though. Not great. And again, this is something we talk about a lot with, you know, all these lands that people can play in all these different colors. You know, this can happen.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely not. It's definitely not guaranteed that you're gonna have your mana. That's for sure.
As we see a Temple Garden come into play, tapped here for Brad, and he does just pass back. Shane gonna have to take advantage of Brad, you know, kind of stumbling around on mana right now. Wasn't able to cast Fiend Hunter on time.
Yeah, this is a big turn for Shane.
We're gonna see a Huntmaster of the Fells. So this is a nice way to capitalize.
Yeah. This is a combo, as they say, with the Master Biomancer.
So you're going to get a Wolf token here, and they're also going to become 4/4s. Huntmaster is going to get +2/+2 for the Master Biomancer, as is the Wolf token. So now, you know, basically what he's doing right now is he's going to get in for 2 with that Biomancer, and then he's presenting lethal the following turn.
He has lethal next turn.
And you are going to see a second Grizzly Salvage here from Brad. It's going to reveal a Stomping Ground, a Sun Petal Grove, a Cavern of Souls, a Sun Petal Grove, and a Sun Petal Grove.
Okay.
So what you don't see there, of course, Patrick, is you don't see Angel of Glory's Rise.
Yeah. So he's going to have to play kind of an honest game for the next couple of turns, and he might not have enough time. I mean, even if he Fiend Hunters here, he's still way under the gun.
Faithless Looting, the draw from Brad this turn. We do know that he has that second white mana, and he does have the Unburial Rights in his graveyard. You know, he's got some things that he can do with it. There's a Cartel Aristocrat down there. There's a Fiend Hunter. There's a Huntmaster of the Fells. But again, he's staring down a lethal attack. He's going to have to cast a spell this turn because the Huntmaster is in play. It's decision-making time.
I mean, if he doesn't, I think his deck is hard pressed to generate something better than Fiend Hunter this turn unless he's actually going off.
Yeah.
But Fiend Hunter might not be enough to save off lethal if Shane has something like, you know, another Gore Clan Rampager in his hand or a Thundermaw Hellkite, something along those lines.
And we are going to see the aforementioned Fiend Hunter. And we'll see what Brad's going to opt to target here. You know, there's a lot of good choices. The Wolf token, getting rid of that for good. Arbor Elf, because, you know, Shane's having trouble on mana as he didn't play a land last turn. Huntmaster of the Fells, prevent that from flipping possibly. There are definitely some things that can be done. I mean, last game we saw how scared Brad was of Master Biomancer, because again, when that card's in someone's deck, it kind of implies they're not really trying to play a fair game.
Yeah. Yeah, actually there's an argument for all 4 creatures in play.
But he is just going to take care of the Wolf token. He's going to cast a Faithless Looting after that. I think digging quite a bit here for an Angel of Glory's Rise to be able to bring everything back from the graveyard. You see him discard an Unburial Rights and a Farseek here. So let's see what Shane can muster on his turn. Take a draw step, draws a Forest.
And I think that removal from Brad is just a way of playing around a possible spot removal spell from Shane.
Yep. And the fun thing here, you know, with it being a new format, you know, if you're in Brad's spot, you're getting beat down. You know, there's a Master Biomancer in play. Your opponent's playing Rug, a color combination that's not traditionally found. You don't really know what your opponent can do to you.
No, yeah, it's still
anything can happen.
Yeah.
When he untaps and, you know, plays that 5th land, it's like, oh, well, what's coming next? Like, you know, I didn't really see very much game 1. Like, even a card as simple as Simic Charm right now is something to be scared of.
Yeah, no, a Giant Growth here would be awesome for Shane, you know. Yeah, and now Brad's in the spot where he's like trying to remember the spoiler, like what other red-green or blue-green cards that were any good.
Yeah. Because we are going to see an Arbor Elf get cast here by Shane. 2 counters on that, so a 3/3 Arbor Elf because of the Master Biomancer. See, Shane's going to tap some mana. He's been holding on to a red card there for a while, 2 of them. Can't quite make out what that is, but I think we're about to see.
Is it a Mizium Mortars?
Searing Spear.
Searing Spear.
Okay, got it. So he's going to clear out that Fiend Hunter. You can see he's a little bit scared to do that because Fiend Hunter being in the graveyard is a little bit terrifying, but he's going to come across 4/6. He's going to put Brad down 2/5. He's going to just pass back.
And he left his Arbor Elf back.
He did.
Which means maybe he has a 2-mana trick in his hand?
Yep.
Attention Magic players, if you signed up for $10 booster.
And if that 2-mana trick...
Please meet at the site events banner.
You're going to see Hunt Mash in the fells here from Brad. Continue your statement.
I said if that 2-mana spell in his hand is some sort of pump spells, it's Simic Charm or a Gore Clan guy, although maybe he would have just played the Gore Clan guy. I'm not sure he can get out, even if he played Huntmaster, but even if it's Huntmaster or Fiend Hunter, he still might be looking at lethal this turn.
So Shane takes a draw step. We're not quite sure what the contents of his hand are right now, but we will find out right along with you guys here as it's a decision-making time for him. Brad trying to stabilize here with a Huntmaster of the Fells and, of course, a Brad Nelson token.
Yes.
Shameless.
No, that is shameless.
Yeah,
that
absolutely shameless.
But it's his prerogative, right? I guess. It's not even the right size.
Yeah. All right, here come the knuckleheads.
Do we have a Gore Clan Mauler here for exact lethal? Or Rampager, rather?
Rampager would do it, but he doesn't have it. So you're going to see 3 damage come across. He's going to knock Brad down to 4.
Flip the Huntmaster.
This is going to knock Brad down to 2.
And we have a Searing Spear.
We have a Searing Spear.
Okay.
So that's going to do it. Shane is going to win game 2, and we're going to be on to a game 3 here.
Yeah, and that game was, you know, Brad's graveyard angle is exceptional in this matchup because Shane doesn't have a lot of ways to disrupt it. But if Brad actually has to play pound for pound, it's possible Shane's deck's much better.
Sure. Just playing an honest game.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, if you're playing creatures that are roughly the same quality against one another, Master Biomancer is a huge breaker.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, just making, if you're in creature combat and Master Biomancer just goes, you know, unanswered, it's going to dominate the game by itself.
Which we saw, you know, we saw a little bit of it that game. I mean, Brad had Fiend Hunters and Huntmaster of the Fells, but he could never actually stabilize the board through blocking because he couldn't block.
No.
Guys were too big.
So as we do see both players shuffling it for game 3 here, pretty happy with their setups, it looks like. You know, that particular game for Brad, you know, that's, again, I think something that's going to become kind of commonplace in the format. Brad was, you know, doing his thing. And I wasn't having much trouble Faithless Looting on turn 1, Grizzly Salvaging on turn 2. Couldn't cast Fiend Hunter on turn 3. And, you know, that was basically the difference in the game. He was playing 1 turn behind. And with, you know, all of the mulching and Grizzly Salvaging and Faithless Looting that he was doing, never found the Angel of Glory's Rise to be able to, you know, go off, for lack of a better term. And when he does have to play that honest game and can't play his cards on time, doesn't make the deck look as impressive.
Yeah, and Shane's draw that game was much more explosive than the first game.
Yes.
For turn 1 Arbor Elf into turn 3, attack you and pump for 5.
Yep.
After Brad had played an untapped grab duel.
Yep.
And turn 3 Simic Biomancer is just a much better, you know, Brad was under the gun in a way that he was not in the first game.
Yeah. So, you know, a big difference here is Brad is going to be on the play this game. You know, the previous game, Shane did not start with a mana accelerant. And you just saw the power of Arbor Elf being able to just accelerate things out much quicker, put the opponent right underneath the gun when he was on the play. So for Brad, being on the play here is a big deal. you know, get the Faithless Lootings, get the Grizzly Salvages, the Mulching off to a fast start. Maybe start with a turn 2 Farseek. You know, get his engine online a little bit faster. Being on the play here for game 3 for Brad is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I mean, all the Farseek mirrors are like this, you know.
Yeah.
Being on the front foot is a huge, huge deal.
We are going to see both players here take a look at their opening 7. Brad looks fairly content. Shane, not so much. Not so much.
Going back.
So what kind of unique thing here about this Reanimator deck too is that, you know, this is a deck that, even though Brad has kept 7 cards, I believe, all 3 games, it is a deck that mulligans relatively well.
Yeah, when you have Grizzly Salvage, Mulch, and Faithless Looting. Not that Faithless Looting is great all the time when you mulligan, but you have a lot of ways to sort of smooth out your hand and recover cards.
Shane's deck, on the other hand, I'm not entirely sure how well this deck mulligans. You know, situational cards like Stemming Charm, Searing Spear. You know, I'm not sure how good Signal the Clans is when you're taking a mulligan. You know, those kind of cards being in his deck. He's got these silver bullets in his deck as well. You know, it gets a little bit dicey then.
Yeah, no, his deck is. I mean, it's not as devastating as some of the more super linear beatdown decks because his deck has a reasonable amount of raw power, but certainly Brad's deck is much more apt to mulligan well than his.
So let's see if Shane can find a keepable 6 that he's happy with. He says, sure, we are underway. Brad starts with a Overgrown Tomb tapped. We're going to kick it over to Shane for his turn 1.
Looks like he has both Breeding Pool and Stomping Ground in his hand, so at least his mana space. And Arborel, so.
Good mulligan.
Yep.
Good mulligan. You see a Searing Spear and a Huntmaster that falls in his hand. Brad's going to kick off here with a Mulch. Using Angel of Glory's Rise, Stomping Ground, Faithless Looting, Unburial Rites.
That's a nice mulch.
That's a mulch.
Yeah. A land and a bunch of graveyard tools.
I think that's a mulch that Brad would want every time, as we see Shane draw a Thragtusk here.
Maybe replace the Faithless Looting with another land. But yeah, it's about as good as it gets right there.
Referee Stomping Ground come in here. Shane gonna add some manas. We're gonna see a Pyreheart Wolf.
That's a singleton that I guess you could call a tutor target with Signal the Clans.
Yeah. Seems a little bit out of place. A little surprised to see that there. We're gonna see a Grizzly Salvage here from Brad to start his turn. Brad just stocking things up now. He's got the Angel. He's got the Imperial right here. You're going to see a Woodland Cemetery, a Mulch, 2 Farseeks, and a Faithless Looting.
A fairly anemic Grizzly Salvage.
Yeah, for how good his Mulch was, that's how bad his Grizzly Salvage was.
Yep.
You're going to see Stomping Grounds here, knocking Brad down to 18, and we're going to see a Faithless Looting as well. So Brad really, really stocking up the graveyard now, and not underneath any pressure.
Yeah. Pyreheart Wolf not at its best when your opponent's planning on going infinite in a turn or 2.
Tell me more.
More insight to come this weekend.
Yeah, we got 10 rounds of it, folks. Angel of Glory's Rise and Huntmaster of the Fells discarded there. And, you know, if it's turn 3, and you're Faithless Looting, and you see Brad's mana base, and you say, oh, he's discarding Huntmaster of the Fells. Oh, really? I don't feel very good about this.
Yeah, Brad doesn't even really need to go off to win from here. He can just bring back Angel of Glory's Rise and Huntmaster
and you see Shane come across there for 2 with the Pyreheart Wolf and the Arbor Elf and does not have a 3rd land. So again, Brad under no pressure as you're going to see him flashback of Faithless Looting. Cartel Aristocrats look like they're going to hit the graveyard, and they are. Cartel Aristocrat, a card that we'll bring up on the screen for you guys, a new card from Gatecrash. The old Sacrifice Outlet, something that the Human deck and the Angel of Glory's Rise combo did not have before, but it does have now.
Yeah, a very solid tool, but also significant just for stabilizing the mana base.
And you do see Brad follow up with a Cavern of Souls on Human and a Cathedral Sanctifier, netting himself 3 life, defending himself a little bit here. Not so great against the Pyreheart Wolf right now, but I'll take the 3 life. I don't mind. Brad looking for just one more tool, as you do see Shane find the Rootbound Crag, so he does have his 3rd land finally, his 4th mana source. Let's see what he's able to do with it.
I mean, his hand's just all creatures.
Yeah, all boom booms.
Yeah.
Here comes the wolf. And Brad's going to jump in front, which means to me, yeah, Shane likely did not announce the trigger for the Pyreheart Wolf. And that's something that if you've been to a competitive Magic tournament recently at all, Before every tournament, they do announce with the triggered abilities. You gotta announce them to get it. And Fireheart Wolf was kind of the reason that they did that. This was the big culprit. I remember when people were attacking with it and not announcing the trigger.
And here it's going to come in Umbrella Raids.
Angel's Glory's Rise. It's going to bring back a Sanctifier. No Fiend Hunter down there, but he does get back 2 Cathedral Sanctifiers and a Huntmaster of the Fells. So as you said, just the value.
Yeah.
Value in barrel rights there.
A fine response to the Pyroheart Wolf.
Yeah. Not bad. Not too bad at all. We do see Shane untap here.
So many creatures that are in play that there is a small earthquake.
Yes. And Shane says, I'm going to announce the trigger this time. Leads me to believe that we're going to see a probably a Gorkland Rampager.
Yeah.
Blood rushed here. And you see Brad double blocking here to get in front of the Wolf. Cathedral Sanctifier and one of his cartel aristocrats are going to get in front. Anything goes wrong here, Brad can just sacrifice to be able to give a protection from a color. So a pretty safe block. Not a ton that can really go wrong. He's going to put Shane's going to organize the blockers. Put Cartel Sanctifier first. Excuse me, Cartel Aristocrat first. Cathedral Sanctifier second. Brad sacrifice to get protection from red. And you're going to see the Blood Rush here. Save his guy, get across 4 trample damage. It's going to knock Brad down to 20. But again, Brad sitting pretty here. Ahead on the board, has the graveyard stocked up pretty well, and he is going to untap. Huntmaster's going to flip because Blood Rushing for the Gorkland Rampager is not a spell.
Not a spell.
Bye-bye goes the Arbor Elf. Ravager of the Fells has made an appearance. And Brad is just going to do a little bit of cleanup duty here with his board.
We're going to flashback of Faithless Looting here, it appears.
Get a little bit deeper. Looks like we're going to see 2 spells this turn probably from Brad.
Try to get the Huntmaster back.
Yeah. Faithless Looting and Woodland Cemetery are the cards drawn. You do see him discard a Woodland Cemetery and a Stomping Ground. Last 2 cards over there for Brad are a Cathedral Sanctifier and an additional Angel of Glory's Rise. So the world is his oyster.
Yes.
There's
there's our second spell.
Yep.
Another Angel of Glory's Rise. Getting some insurance in case Shane has some weird sweeper in his deck or something.
Discards Angel of Glory's Rise and a Cavern of Souls. Sacred Foundry comes into play tap. The old Cavern of Souls on humans. It's going to be able to cast that Cathedral Sanctifiers, and away we go. An attack for 14, it looks like to me. 4 8s. Okay, Simic Charm. Going to bounce the Ravager of the Fells. So we're going to see 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. And I believe it's going to take Christmas Miracle.
Yeah, I don't think we're...
Shane. Everyone's favorite card that saves a man. Bonfire the Damned. Not even Bonfire can do it right now. Yeah. But a Huntmaster of the Fells from Shane. Going to gain himself 2 life, put himself a Wolf token into play. Brad's going to give protection here. Give protection there. And across we come. 4 in the air, 2 in the ground. And a handshake. Brad Nelson starts off round 1 of this tournament very well.
Yeah.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner over Shane and his Rug mid-range deck.
Yeah, this matchup, you know, like we said, felt very good for Brad the whole time. Graveyard under duress, neither was his life total, and if you're not